morning all. So the classwork actually started on August 17th and today is 18th September. We almost be in the online classwork for about 1 month. In this 1 month, I think we had classes for about 16 to 17 classes. Since you people are very much new to the IT subjects, so I took a long time for explanation as part of your first unit, but it is already 1 month over, so we are supposed to go in a quicker manner. So that's what I do for the next rest of the topics. Since to get a good idea about what actually a data structures means and what are the various topics which we people are supposed to study as part of your data structures, and there are two important topics, that is fetching and sorting. These two topics also we are covered as part of your first unit. So that's why it took a long time for us towards covering all these issues. Hope everybody understood the issues which are discussed as part of your first unit, that is fetching and sorting, and introduction about other data structures, that is tags, queues, and trees, linked lists. Hope everybody understood it. Yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
So I give an introduction about stacks, queues, linked list, and trees and graphs. 5 other topics we are about to discuss, and we discussed as part of your first unit topics. Those are searching and sorting. What are various topics that are discussed as part of searching? Linear search and binary search. What happens in linear search? Linear search means it takes more time, but advantage is we are able to search one by one. That means it takes more time, complexity will be more, but searching process is very much easy. That is linear search. But linear search can be suitable only for the limited number of elements, but not for the large number of elements. Why? Because it searches the element position by position. If for one position, the position 1 is supposed to be compared. If not, if the position 1 is not the searched element, then the position increments by 1. So position plus 1, that is in the next position, is supposed to be compared like that till to reach the end of the array. We are supposed to compare all the elements, but it takes more time. What happens in binary search? We divide so we find the middle element position in a particular array, even if it is 1 lakh elements, and we compare with the searched element. If not, either the element may be on the left hand side of the middle element or the right hand side of the middle element. So, but binary search is suitable only for the elements which are already in sorted order. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
CR, first A section CR. Yo, Madikanta, ni network bad. Ni audio, I'm not getting properly your audio. So who is CR for girl CR in A section?
Sir.
Now it is clear, Madikanta. Ni parentappa?
Oh, okay, sir.
Sindhu, sir.
Huh?
Sindhu, sir.
Sindhu. Oh, okay. Next, is that clear for as part of searching algorithms, searching part? And now we go to sorting part. Once the search, when we are supposed to go for a searching, when the elements are in sorted form. So as part of sorting, we discussed about 6 different algorithms. Like the first one is bubble sort, that is the easiest one. Comparing and sorting the elements by comparing the next with the next elements. And insertion sort is we discussed. Selection sort also was discussed. Next, quick sort, wedge sort, and the last sort, that is radix sort. I think in the last class we discussed about radix sort. Hope everybody understood that Have you understood?
Yes, sir. Understood. Yes, sir.
So we discussed about different kinds of algorithms for sorting. One is insertion sort, selection sort, exchange or bubble sort, or quick sort, distribution sort, that is Radix sort, or bucket sort, we can call it as a bucket sort, and pitch sort. All the 6 different sorting algorithms are clear to you, everybody. Roll number 33. CR in B section, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Emma, have you understood all those topics?
Yes, sir.
So this is what the syllabus in unit number 1. So definition of data structure is structural arrangement of data, that is the definition for data structure. And as part of classification of data structures, there are 2 classifications. One is linear and the other one is non-linear. What comes under linear? 33. Roll number 33. What comes under linear data structure?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Gartali. What
Sir.
comes under linear data structure? Emuntai linear data structure lo? What are various data structures we are about to study in the next classes? Classification is 2 ways.
Yes, sir.
Stacks, queues, linked list
Yes, sir.
comes under
List.
stacks, queues, and linked lists are comes under linear data structures. And what comes under non-linear?
Linear data structures.
Non-linear enti
Non-linear
trees and graphs.
trees and graphs.
Trees and graphs are comes under non-linear. The audio baladamane, most probably your network is not sufficient. Okay, sit in a proper location so that you will get proper network. Roll number 49.
Yes, sir.
Roll number 49.
Sir.
What are various operations on data structures? There are 3 or 4 operations. The first one is on any particular data structure, whether it is linear or the non-linear data structure, we are about to perform 3 or 4 number of operations. One is insertion, other one is A49.
Sir. Insertion, deletion.
Insertion, deletion, display, either queue, check the condition for empty or full. So display, it gives you whether how many elements that are already present on a particular data structure. So these are the general operations which we are about to perform on any kind of data structure, whether it is stacks, queues, or linked list, or trees and graphs. Okay. Next one, ADT and now abstract data type. Data types already which we are about to know what actually data type is. So data type like integer or integer gani, boolean gani, all this. So whereas in the character gani, whereas abstract data types are nothing but which are the operations which we are going to perform in a particular data structure. So those are abstract data type. Like your insertion deletions comes under abstract data types. And we discussed about the preliminaries of algorithm, how to write an algorithm, what actually an algorithm means, what are various stages in an algorithm. So algorithm is nothing but, what is the definition? Sequential steps are in a. So what is an algorithm? It is the sequential steps in a particular operation. So and time complexity also will be discussed. So as part of setting, that is the next element, next topic, we discussed about 3 different searching techniques: linear search, binary search, and Fibonacci search. And as part of sorting, we discussed all the sorting techniques. So next, we'll go to unit number 2. All the CRs, B section CR, Sandeep. Sandeep, are you in the class? Niharika?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Sandeep is in the class itself or?
Yes, sir. He is in class.
He's in class. Then
Yes.
I already told you so several number of
Hello.
times. Yeah, Sandeep.
Hello. సార్
ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు ఇంట్లో ఉన్నట్టు యూ కమ్ అవుట్, స్టే ఇన్ డిఫరెంట్ ప్లేస్ వేర్ యు ఆర్ నాట్ సపోజ్ టు గెట్ ద అదర్ పీపుల్స్.
బయటే ఉన్నాను సార్.
ఎవరు మాట్లాడుతున్నారు ఈ పక్కన? యు ఆర్ సిట్టింగ్ along with your friends or what?
నో సార్.
Sit in a ideal location where you won't be disturbed with other disturbances. Okay, the unit 1 is clear to everybody. The others, yes.
Sir, clear, sir. Yes, sir, clear, sir.
Then we'll go to unit number 2. As part of unit number 2, we are about to discuss linked list. So linked list mean we are about to discuss. I will tell you what are the contents which we are about to study as part of linked list, and these are the contents. First, introduction to linked list, then advantages and disadvantages of linked list, then type of linked list, what are the various types. Already informed you there are good number of types, that is, one is single linked list, other one is circular linked list, and third one is double linked list. And what are various applications of linked list, where actually we are supposed to apply this linked list, and what are the operations which we are going to perform on a particular linked list. ఏ టాపిక్ అయినా ఇలాగే చదువుతాం, ఎనీ పర్టికులర్ డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్. సో నౌ the first data structure we are dealing with is linked list. Even when you study stacks or queues, also the same kind. Introduction to stacks and what are advantages and disadvantages of stacks. Types, there won't be any types in stacks, but what are applications of stacks, that we are about to study, and what are operations. We can add one more thing, that is operations of linked list here. The same way operations of stacks also we can add. So first one is introduction to linked list. What actually linked list means, which is already discussed in the previous classes as part of your unit 1. I given an introduction about linked list. How many portions of your data part in a array? Array lo how many parts will be there? Only the data part is available in the array. And how to find the next element in an array? Array lo next
Using
element
address bar.
using address bar. So A is an array. A is the name of the array. A0 will be the first position of the array. Is it clear? Suppose n number of elements in an array. Suppose n number of elements in an array. The last element position is at array lo n elements unte last element position enti, that is n-1.
N-1, sir.
ఇది ఆడియో స్ట్రెచ్ అవుతుందయ్యా. So that is n-1 position. That is, suppose A is an array name and which contains 10 different elements. A9 is the last element position. So what is the first position of an array? That is A0. So what is the next element to A0 means, ultimately A1 will be the next element. A1 ki next element ఏంటంటే A2 will be the next element. But there are some drawbacks in array. So suppose you people are declared the array initially as 100 elements, which contains 100 elements. Suppose only you people are utilized only 50 elements on it. What about the rest 50? అర్థమవుతుందని అన్నదే. The topic is clear. You people are initialized an array with a 100 number of elements. That is A of 100. A of 100 means what is the last element position? A99. Suppose if you people are used only, one second, I'm checking whether I'm recording the content or not. I think it is in recording mode only. Okay. Manikanta. Sindhu. Is my voice is audible to you? Sindhu,
Audible, sir. Audible, sir.
suppose there are,
Yes, sir. Yes.
we initialize the array which contains 100 number of elements. That means A of 100. The last element position is A99. Yes, we can find it out. But you people are utilized only 50 number of elements. But what about the remaining elements positions? That means the empty position in the array. You people are initialized as 100 elements, which an array contains 100 elements. But you are initialized, you utilized only for 50 elements. What about the remaining 50 positions of an array? Is it be usable? Manikanta, Sindhu,
Usable, sir.
Nehal,
No, sir. No,
how?
sir.
Usable or no, Sindhu? How it is going to be usable? Cheppamma, tappaina parla, no problem. How did you came into a conclusion that the remaining 50 element positions can be usable? Can you able to use it for another operation?
No, sir.
For another operation in the sense for the second operation? No, it cannot be. Once it is an array is supposed to be initialized, you cannot reduce the size of it, or once it is initialized, can you able to add 101 element on it? Once the array is added, initialized as for 100 elements, can you able to use it for 100 elements?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Ante the array cannot be stretched or cannot be shrunk. Did you got the concept? Roll number 91.
Yes, sir.
So once the array is initialized, you cannot stretch the element array. That means once it is defined as 100 elements, which may contain 100 elements, you cannot add the 101 element on it. Suppose you people are defined it for 100 elements, but used only 50. The remaining 50 element slots cannot be reused. It will be simply wasted. So that's the disadvantage in an array. To overcome the disadvantage of an array, we will introduce a new data structure that is introduced, that is nothing but the linked list. Linked list and here in the linked list, the biggest advantage in linked list is you can add as many number of elements as you can, even while the program is running. So there is no restriction for defining the size of a linked list prior at the beginning of the program. Na concept అర్థమైందా మణికంఠ?
Yes, sir. Advanced, sir.
Array laga array of 100 అని define చేయక్కర్లా. Instead of that, linked list lo you can stretch the linked list. You can add as many number of elements you can. You can delete as many number of elements as you can. During running time also you can add an elements and delete the elements. This is the biggest advantage when compared to array. But whereas in the case of array, during running time we cannot do anything. Once it is initialized at the beginning, it is fixed. It is fixed. Further additions may not be permitted. So unused space cannot be used. Relocated unused space cannot be allotted to other elements. But whereas in the case of linked list, you can add dynamically, you can add elements, and dynamically you can delete elements. But one disadvantage with the linked list is, what is that?
Memory allocation.
Memory allocation, yes. Why? Because this is the additional part. Yeah, this is the additional part. This screen is visible to you, know, everybody? Is this screen is visible to everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, this is the part. In a particular array, only data part is available. Only data part is available. Whereas in the case of linked list, there is a new portion of the data, that is link part, which simply tells you what will be the next element to the first element of the linked list. Suppose this is the first element of the linked list, then the link where the element has two portions. One portion is for data and the other one is other party is for link, which directly connects to the next element of the linked list, which simply tells you what is the next element. So this particular element is the next element to this, and this particular element is next element to this, and this element is next to this element. And what about this one? What it simply tells you, if a null pointer is placed in the link portion, then what it tells you?
End of linked list.
Huh?
End, sir.
End of the
End of linked list.
end element of the linked list. So this is the end element of the linked list. No, there is no further elements to this particular node. So we can call it as the elements in a linked list are called as a nodes. Node and node. Each element, that is node, contains two parts. One is data part and the other one is link part. Now everybody write the definition. A linked list is a collection of data in which each element contains the location of the next element. That is, each element contains two parts. One is data and the other one is link. And draw this particular diagram. The first diagram. Copy chestunara? Niharika.
Yes, sir.
Write the definition part. Along with that, copy the diagram for linked list. Manikanta copied. Sandeep.
సార్ చేస్తున్నాను సార్.
Sandeep.
Sir.
Are you copying it? Roll number 40.
సార్
నువ్వేనా CR అన్నా 40, 49,
Completed, sir.
91.
Completed, sir.
Okay. Then here I want to tell you, actually a node which contains data as well as link part. This is already we know. But how to define an empty list? This is the empty list. Empty list which contain no portions of it, either data or otherwise link. So this is the indication of an empty list. Next, arrays versus linked list. We are supposed to compare array with linked list. Both an array and a linked list are representations of lists of items in memory. The only difference is the way in which the items are linked together. Already this particular portion is we already defined in the beginning. What is the difference between an array and a linked list? This is the pictorial representation. So a scores is the array name of the array. The first element of the score is followed by the next element, and followed by next element, followed by next element, followed by next element. The first element ki successor is 2, and second element ki successor is 3, and 4 is the successor for 3 element, and 5 is the successor for 4th element. So this is the way we are supposed to add data into the array. So the data is nothing but the different scores are mentioned here: 66, 72, 74, 85, and 96. Is there any gap between these two elements? Any two elements?
Okay.
Gap no gaps are supposed to be available in the case of arrays. Why? Because all the elements are placed in the consecutive locations. Consecutive in the sense next to next, next to next, next to next. The first element ultimately places in the first position, and the last element is placed in the last position. This is the way we are supposed to arrange data in the array. But whereas in the case of in a linked list, just see the linked list. So this is scores is the array name, and the first element is 66. It connected a link to the 72. So is it clear? What is the next element to 66?
72.
72. Next element to 96. Next element to 96.
96 తర్వాత లేదు సార్.
96. ఉందా?
లేదు సార్, ఎండ్ అయిపోయింది సార్.
నువ్వు చెప్పుకో, వేరే విలాస్కి సమ్ అదర్ పర్సన్. 82.
Yes, sir.
How do we find that 96 is the last element in a linked list? Last node in a linked list. How to know that 96 is the 92? How to find 96 is the last element in a linked list? Roll number 96. Sandeep, the number రాయమ్మా 96 ది.
ఓకే సార్.
కాల్ చేయమను. ఎవరమ్మా?
Hello, sir.
You are 96? Are you 96 number?
Yes, sir. 96, sir.
How do here can you able to observe this particular diagram?
Yes, sir.
What is the first element in the linked list here?
66, sir.
What is the last element in the linked list?
96.
How to find 96 is the last element? How to find 96 is the last element?
Yes, sir.
ఎలాగమ్మా? How to find? How to know?
Be- because it is the highest element in the series.
Highest element in the series. Are you doing sorting here?
No, sir.
Sorting చేస్తే 96 becomes the highest element. But you are doing a linked list కదా?
Sir.
Linked list అంటే here, this is the way the linked list is supposed to be constructed. The first element of the linked list scores అనేది an array which contains different elements. Scores అనే linked list లో the first element is this one. How to find the next element? Because a link part which addresses the next element. So suppose this is 1 and this is 2. 2 is supposed to be placed here. Are you getting my concept?
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4 and 4 elements unte 2e, the number 2 is placed here in the link. That means, which tells you that
Sir, sir.
node number 2 is the next element to node number 1. Like ikkade untundi, what is the number that is pasted here? Which number? 3 kada? ఏ నెంబర్ ఉంటుంది ఇక్కడ?
Third number.
3, 4 అని
Third.
4 ఎలిమెంట్స్ అంటున్నారు తల్లి.
Yes, sir.
ఇక్కడ 3 ఉంటుంది. ఇక్కడే ఉంటుంది నెంబర్.
Fourth element.
ఫోర్త్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఇక్కడే ఉంటుంది.
Fifth element.
ఎక్కడ ఉంది ఫిఫ్త్ ఎలిమెంట్? వేర్ ఇస్ ఫిఫ్త్ ఎలిమెంట్? ఇక్కడ ఏ పాయింటర్ చేస్తుంది?
That is null pointer, sir. Null pointer.
Null pointer indicates the last element
Last
of the
element.
last element.
Hmm.
ఏం చెప్తుంది null pointer చెప్పిందంటే 129 అనేది మీ టోటల్ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఇన్ యువర్ సెక్షన్స్ అంతేనా?
Yes, sir.
Do you have 130?
No, sir.
Suppose consider you people are in the linked list elements of linked list. 129 ki ikkada each student is having 2 parts anukundam, will be considered as a node. 129 tarvata no elements.
No elements.
Null pointer points that it indicates you it is the last element of the linked list.
Linked list. Yes, sir.
So address part lo null unte it simply tells you the last element.
Last element of
Ikkade undi. What is here in the
null point. Null pointers.
So which particular element becomes the last element?
96.
So in that highest element anta. Your doubt is clear?
Yes, sir.
Well, better don't get any confusion at all. So where in the address field, in the link portion, a null pointer is placed means that element that node becomes highest anukondi.
Last element.
That node becomes the last element of the linked list. So what is the first element ante? This is the 66 is the first element. And ikkada em place chesundi? What is the data value that was pasted here? Next element idena?
72, sir.
So 72 is the next element. 72 కి నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏది?
74.
74. అర్థమైందా?
Yes, sir.
This link is connected here. And 74 next element ఏది?
85, sir.
85. And 85 కి next element?
96.
96. And 96 కి next element?
Null pointers.
No, there is no element for
For
there is no
often
next. There is no element for next element to 96.
96.
Adi.
Yes, sir.
Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then meantime the rest of the people should copy this particular diagram wherever I am supposed to show you any kind of drawings. You please note it down. All the students. Now the advantages of a linked list, and the first and foremost advantage is it is a dynamic data structure. So what is meant by dynamic? Array is static data structure. Array eppudaina gaani static data structure. Array cannot shrink and cannot grow. Expand avadu, at the same time shrink avadu. But whereas in the case of linked list, it is a dynamic data structure. That means a data structure that can shrink or grow during program execution. This is most important. This is the biggest advantage for linked list. That's why all our data in the hard disk, everybody making use of computers or laptops, whatever be the way we are supposed to save our data, the data structure that is going to be used to store the data in a particular computer is linked list. Linked list name or why? Because it is a dynamic data structure. Next, what is the advantage of it? The data structure that can shrink or grow during the program execution. Next, write this one. Are you copying? Roll number B6. B6. Roll number B6. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
నేను ఇప్పుడు దాకా చెప్పింది.
Yes, sir.
This drawing is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, note down this advantages.
Yes, sir.
Next,
Noting.
Next one, the size of the dynamic data structure is not necessarily known at the compilation time. Suppose you people are mentioned array lo aithe, suppose you want to add 100 number of elements, a of 100 ani meer declare chestaru. But ikkada there is no need to declare. Simply we are going to get the nodes whenever the nodes are required. We are supposed to get it from the memory. Malloc function ante oka function undi. Anybody clear? Manikanta eppudu vinnava malloc function anedi? Memory allocation malloc antam.
Dynamic memory.
Dynamic memory allocation malloc antam. Telusu kada?
Yes, sir.
So that particular function is going to be used here during insertion of nodes into the linked list. So whenever we perform the operation that is delete, this deleted nodes automatically go and join in the available list. Available list lo kelli join avutadi. There is a list that is available in the memory. Danne available list and call chestam. We can call it as a available list. And whatever we are going to get the nodes from memory, that is using malloc function. And whenever we try to delete any particular element from the linked list, the deleted elements or the deleted nodes automatically go and join in the available list, so that we can reuse it. Can it be available in the arrays? It cannot be. The feature cannot be available in the array, but this feature is available in the case of arrays, linked list. This is the advantage. Ade ikkada mention chesadu. Size of the dynamic data structure is not necessarily known at the time of compilation in most programming languages. Next, efficient insertion and deletion of elements. This is what the explanation just now I told you. Efficient insertion. Whenever we need, we require, we get it from the available list using malloc function. Whenever we delete, the deleted nodes automatically rejoins in the available list. Is it clear, Sandeep? Sandeep, third step అర్థమైందమ్మా?
Yes, sir.
Roll number 27. Roll number 27 and A2. Is it clear? This particular 3 steps.
Yes, sir.
As far as so far we discussed about 3 different steps. Next, the data in a dynamic data structure can be stored in non-contiguous or arbitrary locations. If it is in the case of arbitrary, array అవుతుంది. ఇక్కడ arbitrary ఉండదు. So at the time of beginning classes, I shown you by making use of some word L1, L2, L3 any within the same memory space. I explained with you with the help of some word 3 lists చూపించా ఒకే space లో. Can you able to recollect the information? Manikanta, Sindhu,
Yes, sir.
వస్తున్నాయా అవి?
Yes, sir.
ఒకే స్పేస్ లో 3 లిస్టులు L1, L2, L3 కి చూపించా. If you want, I am supposed to display once again. So the data in the dynamic data structure, anyway, it is available in the class, I think. Wait for a while. Class notes. Yeah, this is the one. This is the memory location which contains 10 different points. 10 different memory location. Each one is contains data and next some notation link and call chestaru, some notation next. Whatever with the notation they call, but we assure you that the next tells you the next element of a particular list. Ikkada how many elements that are there in a linked list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. So for a linked list contains 5 elements, but the available memory space is 10. Only we make use of only 5 elements, 5 memory spaces from the memory for a particular list, that is 1. 1 is the list 1. List 1 lo what is the first element in a list 1? 43. 43.
Sir.
What is the first element of a list 1?
H, sir.
H. So what is the next element?
E, sir.
How to find E is the next element?
Address
ఏముంది ఇక్కడ?
based on the link part 4.
4. On the
4,
4,
sir.
on the memory space that is 4, what is the data that is available? That is E.
E, sir.
The
E.
next one is L. The next one is
L.
And the next one is O.
O.
The
O.
once this, what is the text that is contained in the list 1? ఏముంది మొత్తం కలిపితే text 1 లో?
Hello, sir.
HELLO.
L-O.
That means hello. Can you use the empty spaces like 2, 3, 5, 6 and 9 for another list or not?
Yes, sir.
So list వాడుకోవచ్చా?
Yes, sir.
Empty spaces. Roll
Yes,
number,
sir.
roll number 3. Roll number 3.
Yes, sir.
వాడొచ్చమ్మా? So
Yes, sir.
list 1 can be start from here or start from here. ఇక్కడ నుంచి హలో రామా అని మనం టైప్ చేయాలనుకో, suppose L2 start from 9 అనుకుంటే R will be here, the next element may be A here, M may be here, another M may be here. What will be positioned as a last one of the list 2? ఇక్కడ -1 mention చేసాం instead of null. -1 is nothing but the last element position. అర్థమైందా?
Yes, sir.
So is it clear for everybody? A2.
Sir.
A2. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here there are two different. Here I am going to show you one more list diagram which contains 2 lists. All of you take the notes and write L1 and L2. What are the elements in L1 and what are elements in L2? I will ask you randomly the list of elements in L1 and L2. All of you start working. What are the elements in L1 and L2? Number 87.
Sir.
What is the first element in a list 1? Biology. So here biology is the first list and computer science is the second list. So what is the first element in biology? First element in the sense roll number. Whose roll number is first?
S1, sir.
S1. Okay. S01. Antena?
Yes,
And
sir.
what is the next element in biology? Tell me all the elements in biology.
Sir.
Tell me all the elements in biology list. SO1 is the first element. Next.
No elements, sir.
No elements. That means you are not understanding the class in a proper way. So first element anyway, the list pointer points the first node. And what is the value that is mentioned here?
3, sir.
The next element లేదంటావేంటి? Next లో 3 ఉంటాయి. You are not following? అలా కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థం కాలేదమ్మా నీకు?
అర్థమైంది, సార్.
Linked list, the elements in linked list are called as nodes. Each node contains two parts. One is data part and the other one is next part. What is the advantage of having next part which doesn't have in an array? Array lo ee ok part untundi, idi undadu next part. But ee next part undadam valla oka advantage undi. Entadi? What is the advantage? It simply tells you what is the next element to this particular node. Antena? ఇక్కడ 3 అని ఉందంటే వాట్ ఇస్ ద నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్?
5, sir.
3 లో ఏముంది? 5 ఆ?
SO3, sir.
నువ్వు వరుసగా
S3, sir.
చదివేస్తున్నావమ్మా. నీదెంత
థర్డ్ ఎలిమెంట్ లో S3 ఉంది, సార్.
నెంబర్ ఎంత తల్లి నీది? వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ నెంబర్?
87.
87. Have you followed the concepts which are explained in unit 1?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
ఎందుకు ఇక్కడ కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతున్నావు? Why you are getting confused? ఇది లింక్డ్ లిస్ట్ లో ఒక ఎలిమెంట్ పోర్షన్. 1 ఈస్ లింక్డ్ లిస్ట్ లో ఒక ఎలిమెంట్. నా ఎలిమెంట్ ఏమంటున్నావు? నోడ్ అంటున్నావు. ఈచ్ నోడ్ కంటైన్స్ డేటా పార్ట్, అంటే డేటా పార్ట్ ఇక్కడ రోల్ నెంబర్, అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ అడ్రస్ పార్ట్. What is the advantage of having next address part? It simply tells you what is the next element in the linked list. ఇక్కడ డేటా పార్ట్ అయిపోయింది. నెక్స్ట్ అడ్రస్ పార్ట్ లో 3 అని ఉందంటే థర్డ్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏదైతే మెమరీలో థర్డ్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఉందో అది నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ అని. వాట్ ఇస్ ద నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ నౌ? S01 తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏంటి? S3. S03. Okay. Does the SO3 contains next element? SO3 తర్వాత ఎలిమెంట్ ఉందా లిస్ట్, బయాలజీ లిస్ట్ లో? SO3 తర్వాత ఎలిమెంట్ ఉందా లేదమ్మా? ఇక్కడ ఏముంది? ఇక్కడ 8 అని మెన్షన్ చేసి ఉందా నెక్స్ట్ లో? 87. రోల్ నెంబర్ 87. అన్మ్యూట్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్.
S6, sir. నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్.
8 అని ఇక్కడ కనబడుతుందా?
Yes, sir.
8 అంటే 8 పొజిషన్ లో ఏముంది?
S6, sir.
నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏంటి? SO6 కి
S8, sir.
11 అని చెప్పు.
సెవెంత్ ఎలిమెంట్ S8, sir.
S8. దీనికి ఏంటి నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్?
S10, sir.
S10. దీనికి ఏంటి నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్?
S11.
S11. దీనికి ఏంటి నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్?
నో ఎలిమెంట్, sir. అది
ఎందుకు లేదు? Why no element? This is the
minus,
last. Why this is last element? Because in the next address field -1 is mentioned. Antena?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear, Emma?
Yes, sir.
Now on your notebook, write all the list of elements in biology list. అంటే లిస్ట్ 1 లో ఏం ఉన్నాయి అన్ని రైట్ పర్సనల్.
Yes, sir.
And create the linked list in this way. ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేయి? Create the linked list in this way, everybody. The first node is SO1 and next node is what is that, and here you mention the link next node till the last node of the list 1. You draw the diagram like this for this particular one, L1, and roll number A2.
Sir.
అర్థమైందమ్మా? లిస్ట్ వన్ ఎలా వస్తుందో? రోల్ నెంబర్ 97. డ్రా ద లిస్ట్ 2 ఆల్సో. మీట్ 97. 97. Sandeep, Mr. Sandeep,
సార్ సార్
97 నెంబర్ కూడా నోట్ చేసుకుని నాకు కాల్ చేయమని క్లాస్ అయిన తర్వాత.
ఓకే సార్.
ఇందాక ఒక నెంబర్
Okay.
చెప్పానే నీకు. C7.
రెస్పాండ్ అయ్యారు కదా సార్ తను.
Sir.
అర్థమైందా?
Yes, sir.
How a linked list? What is the first element of computer science? List 2.
SO2, sir.
SO2. What is the next element for SO2?
Fifth element SO4, sir.
What is the next element for this?
Seventh element SO5, sir.
What is the next element for this?
10th element SO7, sir.
What is the next element?
12th element SO9.
What is the next element?
No element, sir.
Why?
Negative number.
Because in the next address field అంతా ఉంది. ఇది డేటా ఫీల్డ్, ఇది నెక్స్ట్ అడ్రస్ ఫీల్డ్. In the next address field for L2 for element that is SO9 కి ఏముంది? -1 is mentioned. -1 means this is the last element in list 2, that is computer science.
Computer science.
Is there any empty spaces that are available here in the memory?
Yes, sir.
ఏమున్నాయి empty spaces?
4, 6, 9, 14.
And 14. Can you able to add one more list?
Yes, sir.
చేసుకోగలవా లేదా?
Yes, sir.
So this is the way. Are the list of elements are in a consecutive locations? List elements consecutive locations లో ఉన్నాయా? Consecutive అంటే ఒకదాని తర్వాత ఒకటి ఉండాలి. ఇక్కడ SO1 తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏంటి? థర్డ్ పొజిషన్. SO3 తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏంటి? SO8. అంతేనా? ఇది this is the one. That means is there any consecutive locations? Adjacent locations lo unnada all the data?
No, sir.
No. That means this is the biggest advantage for linked list. See, the same way, whenever you people are trying to store any particular data, whether the data is in image size or word size, PDF file or a video file, whatever the kind of data it is going to be stored in this way. Wherever the empty spaces are located in the sense how to find the empty locations and an available list which is available in the memory, and whenever a data is supposed to be required or a space is required, the first node of the available list is deleted and it will be available to the memory. అది మెమరీకి దొరుకుతుంది. మెమరీ దాంట్లో డేటా పెట్టేస్తుంది. ఇంకో మెమరీ కావాలనుకుంటే మళ్ళీ ఫస్ట్ నోడ్ ఇన్ ద అవైలబుల్ లిస్ట్. ఎనీవే దట్ పర్టికులర్ థింగ్ we are about to show you as part of your construction of your linked list. Construction of your linked list లో అది చూద్దాం. How to get the nodes from available list and how to construct a linked list. Okay, is this clear to everybody? Roll number 43. Roll number 43.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, in the next class I will tell you anyway linked list versus arrays we covered. Can you able to add one more list? And yes, there are 4 empty spaces. We can add one more, and I will tell you the another list. I will explain with you one more list, students linked list, and how it is supposed to be divided. And you'll see in the next classes. Is the content which was discussed so far is clear to everybody? Any particular doubts are there? Manikanta,
Clear, sir.
Emma, Sindhu, అర్థమైందా?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Niharika, మాట్లాడాలి.
Sir, clear.
అర్థమైందా?
Yes, sir.
Okay then. If you want, I will share the DS presentation. And one more thing, Manikanta, sometimes you are supposed to remind me towards sending any particular explanation which was discussed as part of your class. Last time we read word files ఏదో చేశా, ఏది పిక్సార్ట్ ఉన్న మెత్సార్ట్. అవి కావాలనుకుంటే
ఫిబ్రవరి సిరీస్ వరకు పెట్టారు సార్.
అవి కావాలనుకుంటే జస్ట్ సెండ్ మీ రిక్వెస్ట్ త్రూ వాట్సాప్.
ఓకే సార్.
మన గ్రూప్ ఉంది కదా, 2A 2B లో పెట్టండి. I will forward it to the admin. Okay. So we'll meet and we are supposed to go into a faster mode from the next class. Okay. Otherwise the syllabus may not be completed. 5 more topics we are about to discuss. This is the 5th one, and 4 more topics other than this. Okay. Thank you. Here I am close the session. Okay, can I close the session?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.